I remember back in 1987, more precisely, December 6th, when I finished my 5 day long personal growth leadership experience in my life. There are things in life where they represent what was before and what comes after. They just split your life in two. For many, it's marriage. For others, it's the birth of a child. Okay, of course, they're very, very important aspects that can really split your life in two, or very bad experiences. You know, things that you have to go through, difficult things that you have to go through, and which made life in a certain way it was like before and then after. This was mine. This was my separate life separating element where I made decisions which were personal and professional that totally changed my life. Now, it was so strong, this experience that I made, and so inspiring and so, I don't know, like life changing, really, truly, is that you want to talk about this to people. And they did. Most people did not understand. I lost the friendships because of this. And the first person that I wanted to talk to about this was my brother, who still lives today in Canada. I live in Italy, and he lives in Canada. In even then, and I told him, "Look, you have to do this." I mean, I did this seminar, and I explained to him what it was more or less. And you have to do this. It will really teach you how to become a leader. On the other side of the phone, silence for a few seconds, and then he said, "I don't care to be a leader." And he said, "What? It wasn't possible. How can you not want to be a leader?" And then I thought about it and thought to myself, well, before you did this experience, was it so important for you to be a leader? And my answer was, perhaps not. You don't understand that it's important for you to be a leader until you find yourself in a situation where you have to make that choice. Only then do you understand the importance of being a leader. So why did I talk to you about this? Because leadership is first and foremost, it's a desire, the desire of growing. And the second thing is the desire to transmit to others, to transfer to others, to inspire others to take their lives in their hands. That's how I decided to become a coach. That's exactly what I'm doing. Now, I'm not considering myself as a leader, like, a conqueror or something like that. These like Julius Caesar or great leaders of the past that have driven armies to great victories. No, no, that's not me. But in some ways, I am a leader. I lead myself with what I learned, and I try to do the same with the people who come to me who need to find a way, a path. That's what I'm here for. That's what our coaches are there for. So, um, the one thing that we must avoid doing first and foremost is avoiding, creating cliches and stereotypes about leaders. Today, we still have people separating, leader and boss. No, leader is good, is great, is beautiful, is handsome, is whatever. The boss is bad, he's ugly, he's unattractive, etc. This is ridiculous. Don't look at that stuff. Now, this is how a good leader behaves. That's what a bad boss behaves like. That's not the point. You can have leaders that have the character of a boss and still be a good leader, and being a boss who tries to be a good leader, but he's not. It's not a question of how you show yourself, even though the form has its importance. But what really matters is what your intentions are. Where do you want to go with that? Where do you want to take your people? I mean, there can be times as a good leader that you have to be a tough son of a bitch. A good leader has to do that. He does not like that, but he will because he cares. The boss is a son of a bitch because that's what he is. He doesn't care about other people. But still, you see, even here, there's this separation. It's not a question of being separated. It's about your intention. Where do you want to go? Now, back in 2022, 2002, I published my first book in Italian. You won't find it in English, which was The Five Principles of Corporate Success. And in that occasion, in that book, I was talking about things like mission, vision, values, stuff like that. Nobody talked about that in Italy then. Today, everybody does in his own way. I was one of the first to deal with these things. And that's why the publisher was so enthusiastic about publishing it. I sent the manuscript to the publisher in September of 2002. He published it in December, in only 3 months. And I'm not talking about self-publishing here. There was, one of the major publishers in Italy for professional literature. And he says, this book is going to be great. That's why he wanted to publish it right away. And it did not have the success that we imagined, myself and him. He was very disappointed for the results. He couldn't understand why. Perhaps it was too soon. Probably the people weren't ready for that. There must have been a reason why nobody wrote about mission and vision. It's because nobody cared. Today, if you do not have that in your mind, there's nowhere you can go. Now, if I were to summarize those five principles into three aspects, I think they would be these. So this is what a leadership of tomorrow should be like, should follow in his own way. I don't care how he does it, but he has to keep that in mind. It doesn't mean that he can coming out very strong or weaker or whatever, but he has to have these three aspects clear in mind. Why? If you want to have a sustainable leadership, because it's all a question of sustainability. Today we talk about sustainability only in relation to the climate. That's not the only thing. Every natural system has to be sustainable. It's not like an artificial, like a dishwasher or a PC or whatever. It's not about only artificial systems. They don't have to be sustainable. Okay, they have to work. That's it. That's all they have to do. We design them to be sustainable, to work well. We don't decide, we don't build, we don't create, we don't design nature. We have to understand how it works so we can use it in the best way possible. That is what makes it sustainable. And that's why I'm talking about these three aspects, because these three aspects are what, to my opinion, is what is going to make whatever is the environment in which you want to use this leadership, okay, it's going to make it sustainable. The first aspect is principles. Principles are laws, the laws of nature. As I said, we don't, a machine, we tell the machine what to do. In nature tells us what we have to do. It's just the opposite. We have to understand what nature wants, how it works. Now, basically, there are 7 principles, okay, which I've come up with in decades that I've been working with this, basically, which are life, which means, survival, the safeguard of life, respect of life, quality of life, and dignity of life. Now, these are very important aspects of this first principle. Then there's transparency, connection, growth, balance, dynamism, and duality. These are the 7 principles. When you understand these 7 principles, then your leadership will be sustainable, because in everything you do, in every strategy you apply, whether it be in your work or in your relationships or whatever, in any environment, even family, as a parent, for example, and you understand these 7 principles, then you will behave according to nature's laws. And if you do behave according to nature's laws, you will be sustainable. What does sustainable mean? It's going to be it's going to run forever, as long as you apply these laws, and they will work. The second thing is effectiveness. What does it mean to be effective? To make things work. How do you do that? Of course, by applying principles. That's the first thing. but also not separating what's good or bad, what's right or wrong. This is the way we think. Moralistically, I call this. We think moralistically and we behave moralistically, which doesn't help. And when I talk about moralistically, I'm not talking about being moral. That is good. Being moral means uh, acting according to nature. But moralistically, that's ideological. Okay. You know beforehand what's good or bad because some religions, I don't know, some contexts tell you that this is good and this is bad. You read things, this is good and this is bad. This is right. That's the right way of doing things. That's the wrong way of doing things. And it's not doesn't work that way. How it works is how it works. Does it work? Are you having the results you want? On the long term, remember sustainability. Okay. On the long term, is it working or not? If it works, good. If it doesn't work, bad. It means you're not actually following the principles. Now, this is very, it's crazy, but you're not going to have good results short term. Actually, when you start applying these principles and you work in a sustainable way, you're going to have drawbacks. I don't know why life works that way. I have no idea. But that's what happens. On the medium long term, and if you are, sure about what you're doing, you feel confident that as you follow the laws of nature and you are effective and you understand that, then things will happen on the medium and long term. The third thing is authoritativeness. If you follow principles, if you do the right things, things are going to happen the right way. People will see that you are effective, that you are confident. Why are you confident? Because it's not about your ideas, because your ideas could be right or wrong, but nature cannot be wrong. If you understand the principles of nature, if you know what works, you're 100%, well, not, there's no such thing as 100%, but 99% confident that things will turn out well and with great results if you have the patience to wait for these things to happen. Okay. So when people see this, they will look up at you and say, this guy knows what he's doing. That's how you become authoritative and not authoritarian. You don't have to convince anybody. Your actions and your results speak for yourself. You understand that? This is very, very important. So apply these three things: principles, effectiveness, and authoritativeness. And you won't have any problem with your leadership. Guaranteed. See you next time.